Yo, Kippis Guy here. Hey, so this video is about rear speakers. What's their duty? When are they active? And are they worth it? So this video was spawned in because I made a video maybe 3 months ago of the new Walmart brand On. They made a On Blast soundbar. The previous generation that came out 5-6 years ago was just a Dolby Atmos soundbar, but all the speakers were in the front of the soundbar. All of them were in the soundbar. So your Atmos speakers, your front speakers, your surround speakers, it was all in the soundbar. About 3 months ago or so, Walmart came out with a new version of that same soundbar, now having dedicated wireless rear speakers in the back. A lot of the comments that I got on that video, even though the soundbar sounds really good, the number one complaint that I heard from that video was that they bought the soundbar themselves, but they weren't sure if the rear speakers were working. Why aren't my rear speakers very loud? How come when I'm watching TV, I don't hear anything? How do you turn them up? What's going on with my rear speakers? I've learned through all these comments that I've gotten that a lot of people have a misinterpretation about what rear speakers are and what they do and when they're active. So let's get right into that. So this video will pertain to soundbars and home theater systems alike. And let's start with a basic system. Let's say you have a basic 5-channel system, meaning you have a front left, a center speaker, a front right speaker, and then you have your surround left and your surround right. Those are your 5 speakers. The center channel is made for voices. Most of the dialogue, most everything you see on the TV or projector screen comes from the center channel. Every other speaker in the system is there for some sort of ambient effects or things that happen off screen or to the left of or right of the screen behind you. So the center channel is the most important. The left and right show you, or they give you an audio cue of what's happening on the left or the right side of the screen. The rear speakers do the same, but they take care of what's happening behind you. So if I have a bouncy ball and I throw it from the front of the room to the back of the room, you'll hear that ball bounce from the front of the room to the back of the room, right? So that's what rear speakers do, is give you that 3D shape, that bubble that transports sound from the front to the back of the room, so you get that sensation that it actually happened in your living room. A lot of people seem to not understand when rear speakers are on. Rear speakers, again, they're made to give you surround sound happening behind you. But a lot of issues that I was seeing in the comment section was, why aren't they on? I can barely hear them. What's going on? And I was learning that people are watching content that doesn't support rear surrounds. For example, a lot of people were telling me, I'm watching TV, I'm watching YouTube, I'm watching, the NFL game, basketball. Why am I not getting any surround sound? Well, there's 2 reasons. The main one is that you're probably watching content that doesn't have surround sound. You're probably watching something in stereo, meaning 2 channels, left and right speaker. So all your information just comes from those 2 speakers. Most likely, you're listening to a mono signal, meaning 1 split into 2 speakers. So the left and the right speaker are playing the same information, right? So your rear speakers are not even in use. That's probably why you don't hear them. But if you pop in a movie, you're going to hear surround sound because that movie has what we call an upmix. It has a Dolby Atmos upmix or a Dolby Digital upmix. It has a DTS-X or a Virtual X. It has some sort of surround decode in that content. Most sports do not. YouTube, a lot of YouTube channels, YouTube videos do not. Netflix, however, or Disney Plus, when you watch movies that way, it can. I've learned that most people who have a soundbar probably are streaming all of their content. They're not watching it on a Blu-ray. They probably have their soundbar plugged directly to their TV, and either they're using the smart apps built into the TV, or they have a dedicated streaming service like a Roku or a Fire Stick or an NVIDIA Shield. They're using that. Not all content you watch is surround sound decoded. It's not always the case. So if you're having trouble hearing your surround sound speakers, it probably is the content you're watching. But there's also a second reason. So if you're one of those people who is watching content and you're not getting a much surround sound activity, well, keep in mind that when you plug your HDMI cable from your soundbar or receiver to your TV or your Fire Stick or whatever you're using, that receiver or soundbar has to detect a signal, whether that's Dolby Digital, whether it's Dolby Atmos, whether it's DTS, DTSX, virtual, whatever, if it detects a 5.1 or higher signal, it'll put that information to all the speakers. If you're watching content that doesn't decode any of that, then it's only going to use the front two speakers. And that's why you are not getting any surround sound. It's not that your surround sound speakers aren't loud enough, or that they're worthless, or that they're not placed in a good position. It's that not all content is supported with home theater. So if you are somebody who has a sound bar and you have an issue that there's not a lot of information coming from the rear speakers, don't trash the sound bar. Don't go out and try to buy another one. Make sure that the content that you're watching supports it. Netflix does, Disney Plus, Hulu, but not everything. Some TV shows don't. For example, I watch Hulu quite often. I watch MasterChef a lot on Hulu. And most all information only comes from the front. Sometimes there's some ads and then I can hear the surround sounds, but 95% of the time that I watch Hulu TV shows, there's no surround sound. But if I switch to a movie, then there is. So just make sure when you're watching TV, if you want to utilize the surround sound speakers, feed your soundbar or feed your receiver information that it can decode that will support 5-channel systems or Dolby Atmos systems, so on and so forth. Don't think that anything is wrong. You're doing everything right. Just make sure you're watching the right content. Before I end that video, I will say, just in case you are having a true issue with surround sound, make sure, especially if you're using your sound bar to your TV or your receiver to your television, make sure in your TV or projector setting that you have HDMI CEC on, as well as HDMI audio return channel plugged in. On your TV and most new soundbars receivers, they have an HDMI ARC or an HDMI eARC, stands for audio return channel, or eARC stands for enhanced audio return channel. And what that does is allow Dolby Atmos and DTSX and Dolby Digital to be passed through from your soundbar to your TV or your receiver to your TV. So make sure you have those settings on inside your TV so that your TV can send your soundbar the right signal. If you have these things off, you can have some handshake issues to where your audio is not being fed. You won't get Dolby Atmos if you don't have ARC or eARC. You want to make sure that your TV and your soundbar are relatively current, right? You don't want a super old TV with a new soundbar. That old TV is not going to send your soundbar the new decoding. Also, make sure that you use the HDMI cords inside your soundbars, because more than likely they paired your soundbar with the latest HDMI so that you can feed your soundbar or your receiver with the newest and latest codecs. That's not just visuals or audio, but that's also visuals too. Dolby Vision, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, all those formats. So if you are having an actual issue with surround sound in your home theater setup, whether that's a dedicated home theater or a soundbar, make sure in your TV you have HDMI CEC on so that your soundbar and TV can control each other. Make sure you have your HDMI plugged into the ARC input and output so that it also can communicate with the TV correctly. And then make sure you're watching content that supports what you plan to do. If you're going to experience surround sound, then you have to watch content that has surround sound, right? TV usually doesn't do it. So I hope this helps somebody out there. Leave me a comment down below if you're having issues. I'm more than happy to directly, attack your problem with you. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you guys need any more help. Leave your own input down below, and we will see you guys in the next video. Kick Bass Guy out. Peace.